is that NDDC is overburdened. The responsibility that NDDC is carrying is far too much. It's even much more than the Constitution gives to it. Everybody feels a sense of entitlement. This is just an interventionist agency, and there are specific areas. It's not that NDDC should take on the entire gamut of the existence of the life of the people of the Niger Delta.
Oh, that was a spokesman of the NDDC speaking on recent move by the federal government to probe the commission. It's 20 minutes past the hour of 4. You're welcome to another edition of the platform on radio on your premium talk radio station. My name is Ifeimi Andrew.
And I'm Wealth Wilson.
We'll be giving you insight into some of the news reports making the rounds. The platform is a program designed to take a look at trending issues with correspondent reports. Before we get on the menu, we'll take a very short commercial break. Don't go anywhere.
God is faithful. Come join Real House of Grace family in celebrating her 27th anniversary of graceful victory, miracles, and testimonies with the theme, The Tribe of Jesus. Ministry Bishop Dr. Emma Ison, Bishop Michael Amamiye, Pastor Larry Olushenye, Pastor Chinelo Dilimono, Apostle Zili, and Lady Apostle Gladys Agri, your host. Date and time, Sunday 27th October, 8 a.m., Monday 28th, and Tuesday 29th, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Real training session for evangelists, and Wednesday 30th October, anniversary dinner night by 4:30 p.m. Then 13 Graceland Avenue, Mile 4, Rumeme, Port Harcourt. For inquiries or reservation, call 0803-301-8493 or 0803-707-5140. Watch the celebration at www.facebook.com/RHGIC. 27th anniversary of Real House of Grace International Church. We belong to the tribe of Jesus.
Welcome back. Still the platform on radio. Now, quickly, let's jump to the menu, shall we? NDDC welcomes move by federal government to probe it. Suspected serial killer Gracious David West pleads guilty to 9 out of 10 count charges bordering on murder. And Nigerian border closure takes its toll on prices of livestock in Port Harcourt. Let's start off with the NDDC. So, the Niger Delta Development Commission now has described the governors of the 9 Niger Delta states as critical stakeholders and partners in the development of the region. Director of the Corporate Affairs at the Commission, Charles Ordili, made the observation while briefing newsmen in Port Harcourt. The NDDC spokesman said the governors play a key role in the process of building a development-oriented Niger Delta.
Niger Delta states are strategic partners in the task of developing the Niger Delta region, and this indeed is a function which has been constitutionally given to the Niger Delta Development Commission. The governors form the advisory board, and from time to time the advisory board is supposed to meet to look at areas where necessary, where they can intervene and advise management and board on the way forward. So they are strategic partners in the process of building an egalitarian and a development-oriented Niger Delta region. There's no gainsaying the fact that they are not important. They're very important to the process of building the kind of Niger Delta that we have, the kind of Niger Delta that we all can be proud to call our home. So anyway.
The NDDC also welcomed the move by the federal government to probe the agency. It says that the president reserves the right to look at the various components because the federal government puts in so much money. And, of course, they have a right to know what is coming out of the NDDC.
I did mention that the governors visited Mr. President, and that Mr. President, as the father of the nation, has a right to look at the various component units, the various parastatals, and say we are putting in so much money here, what are we getting from here? So, it's a welcome development that a probe is coming, because in that kind of situation, you find out that a lot of things will come to the fore, and one of which is that NDDC is overburdened. The responsibility that NDDC is carrying is far too much. It's even much more than the Constitution gives to it. Everybody feels a sense of entitlement. This is just an interventionist agency, and there are specific areas. It's not that NDDC should take on the entire gamut of the existence of the life of the people of the Niger Delta.
Along claims that the NDDC was often over-politicized, Otili said the commission cannot entirely be divorced from political considerations.
NDDC is a creation of politics, and so it will be very difficult to take it away from politics. But that NDDC is peopled by public servants or civil servants. And in civil service, you have the role of impartiality. No matter what government is in place, you do your utmost best to serve the better interest of the people. As a manager of information or communication, rather, we do our utmost best to take away politics from our functions, because not to do that would put the corporate existence of the commission into peril. So because we're serving the interest of the entire people of the Niger Delta, irrespective of the party platform. That's why oftentimes we do say that there is no political interest in the NDDC. We are public servants who have been given the mandate to develop the Niger Delta region, and we'll do that to the best of our ability.
All right, so on his claims with regards to the NDC being over-politicized, he says it's not, you cannot entirely divorce the commission from political considerations. Is that him saying, well, some politics might be going on in the NDDC?
Well, I do think that, of course, of a truth, some politics will most definitely be going on with the NDDC. And I feel that the NDDC, to some extent, do not merit the amount of monies that they get. I mean, it's such a big corporation, it's such a big agency, and then
you expect that they do more.
Yes, so that's it.
But some people are of the opinion that they might be overburdened. They may be asking for too much from them. Are we asking for too much from the NDC? Are they saddled with too many responsibilities, or is much being asked of them?
I mean, they're only in charge of a certain region. So how is that even too much? I mean, they get the monies from the federal government, and then all you have to do is just deliver projects, help complete some certain projects, and then see how you can turn things around for the people of the Niger Delta. So I do not see that as too much burden for just a region.
Well, you listening, do you think the NDDC is overburdened? And you heard the statement there from the spokesperson of the NDDC with regards to over-politicization of the commission. It says you can't entirely divorce the politics from the NDDC. I mean, it's going to be there. Well, like any other institution, there's a bit of politics here and there. I mean, with the police employment thing, we saw some politics, who's going to do what and who's going to do what. But then again, are we putting too much burden on the NDDC is a question. Let's know what your thoughts are on that. Hello, Today95.1 FM.
Hello, Andrew.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. My name is Prince Andy, and I'm calling you from Bundele.
Okay, Andy, go on.
The truth is that our NDDC has been abused, not overburdened. That NDDC was set up for an intervention fund agency where they can carry out some of the projects within the Niger Delta region. But politicians just use it for politics and politics alone. Forgetting its core mandate why they set up that agency. From 2001, it is even just this recent NDDC that Brian Brefa led that even tried. What we just see is they go to somewhere, patch road, or probably do borehole, or put one stand and put signboard commissioned by NDDC. That's what we see. Then the rest money is channeled into campaign and all the rest. So I actually commend Mr. President for looking into what is really wrong, what is going wrong in the NDDC, trying to probe them. Let us do the check and balance, see what is the problem, so that this agency can be recalled and direct its focus and vision to the core mandate why it was being set up. I think I commend Mr. President for that. No other president has done it over the years. He's not worried about whoever that will be concerned. He wants to look inside. I think Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari is actually doing well.
All right.
He's serving us well. And we need to have this kind of president It's
Thank
been
you very
hearing
much.
future
Thank you very
again.
much. But I think you'd agree that the president is the right step to probe the NDDC. Okay, to say that the president wants to know the monies that are being put in there. Okay, what is coming out of it? What have you been doing with the money? Is what's on the ground.
Yeah, I think it's a good step, but I actually do hope that the presidency would reduce the number of years in which it wants to probe the NDDC on, okay, so that they can actually come up with swift results. I think he should probe the NDDC based on his last administration, and then hopefully as time goes on, they revisit other administrations as he had
So
already.
it's easier to get the
Yeah.
results, because if you want to go back to many years,
It's
it
going to
might
take too
drag
much
for quite a
time.
long time. Well, let's know what your thoughts are on all of those, the situation with the NDDC. Hello, Today 95.1 FM.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, this is Engineer Yudi.
All right, go ahead,
You
UD.
see, it's great. People are praising the setup, the president to probe them. I don't understand. Let this thing be executed. It's not just setting up. Let me tell you, there are a lot of cabal within the presidency that will certainly be affected if indeed the forensic, what they call it, eventually take place. I bet you so many cabal within the presidency are going to be affected. So this thing is just to divert attention. I doubt if this thing will be taken to a logical conclusion. For somebody to be president, this is the first president that has done this. Let it be done so that we see. People should stop praising. Let us see. This is not the first time we are hearing setting up of a panel of inquiry or investigation. At the end, everything is swept under the carpet. When is from be done? So
Okay.
This why I'm seeing this one. If indeed this one will be carried on perfectly, I mean, I will be one of the happiest man. So people
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Come on.
Thank you much. You made your point. All right, let's go for another short commercial break. And when we come back, we'll take more of your calls.
Every day, we hear the call by communities for companies to perform better social corporate responsibilities. Organizations have decried the ease of doing business in real estate. For there to be development in the state, there must be a working relationship between organizations and communities.
These foreign companies come to Nigeria, devastate our environment, cut away access, and go and develop their own country.
Your premium talker radio will be provided a platform for organizations and communities to dialogue, as we will be gathering stakeholders from within and outside real estate and the Niger Delta at large. The summit is tagged fostering better relations between host communities and organizations.
Like I said, we are suffering. We can't even fish. Also, we also want them
only on your premium talk radio today, 95.1 FM.
Welcome back. Yes, still the platform here on Today 95.1 FM. Yes, first stop is the NDDC, and we're looking at what's happening there. The probe is on from the federal government. It's demanded for a probe. And there's also talks from the spokesperson of the NDDC there saying, well, you cannot really divorce politics from the NDDC. And are we all putting too much burden on the NDDC is another question. Let's put those calls. 081700000951 and 0810951091 are the numbers for you to call. We'll take one more call and then we get on to another issue. Hello, Today 95.1 FM. Good evening.
Hello, good evening. Thank you for picking my call. My name is Henry. I'm calling from Port Harcourt.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, I want to ask a question. Please don't defend it. See, what if this panel of inquiry or probing happens to affect the first election of President Muhammadu Buhari in the sense of if maybe they set up this probe now, maybe the probing, they found out that one of the person who sponsored him took the money from NDDC, what will the president do? Will he go ahead on doing it? See, this, bro, the reason why I'm saying this, earlier when 2014, I believe so much in President Muhammad Buhari in the sense that I was thinking that because he has been an elder, that he will be the one to sanitize, because I have no chance to come back again. Now, if this thing happens to be that he is one, as in maybe one of his cabinet member or one of the people around him added money into his election, the first election that took place in 2015, will he still go ahead to do it? That is my question.
All right, until that time comes today, and that did not happen because he didn't have a counsel. Perhaps one has been provided for him. David West, however, pleaded not guilty on one of the charges, claiming he did not kill one of his victims in a hotel in Bender Street in Port Harcourt, saying he had only tied her hands and legs because he's a Christian. Are we getting to a point where perhaps psychiatric evaluation would be involved in this? Could we see that happen? Is it possible that would happen?
I'm quite short of words. I mean, he had only tied her hands and legs because he's a Christian.
That's the part, because he's a Christian, so like he's allowed to tie hands and legs. Well, the question now would be, who killed that other victim? If he wasn't the person who killed them, they just tied their hands and their legs because he's a Christian in court. And he is not responsible for that 10th person or for that person, for death of that particular person. So who would be responsible? That's a whole conversation altogether. Well, according to the suspect, he also pleaded for forgiveness from the court. And this is the part. He demanded for his 60,000 naira and a wristwatch, which he claimed are still with the police. That's also there. In the meantime, the Rivers State government has taken over the matter after the Attorney General of the state, Zacchaeus Adango, made the application. Uche Individual, our correspondent, sent in the report and said that the matter was adjourned to the 18th, 21st, 27th, 29th of November and 4th of December, all of these days, for hearing, while the suspect was ordered to be remanded in prison custody. The prosecuting counsel, Gladys Umegu, explained why the state government took over the matter.
Upon the application from the lawyer from the Ministry of Justice, the PP's office, he made an application to take over, and the court granted. It is a constitutional right. At the same time, we also made it clear too that we have prosecutorial power. There are cases abound where it has been even up to Supreme Court. The case of George Osaon and the Federal Republic of Nigeria, permits the police lawyer to prosecute up to Supreme Court. And even the laws, the criminal justice law of Rivers State gives us that power. But in any case, it is a constitutional right to take over a case, and we are not averse to it. It is for the betterment of the state. We are working together, and nothing more. He has been remanded in prison custody. Thank you very much.
On his part, Chidi Boniface Eke, who stood in for the State Attorney General, also stated the interest of the state government in the matter.
I will consider that case a very sensitive one that the state should not ignore, considering the fact that all the people they've killed, apart from the fact that they were from Rivers State, they are human beings, and the state has the responsibility to protect the citizens wherever they come from. And if anyone goes contrary to the laws of the land, even to that extent, the state has to rise to the occasion to say, we condemn this. We cannot allow you to go scot-free. Everybody had a right to live. What was your reason for killing them? Whatever reason you have for killing them, you do not have that right. So the state wants to see why he killed them, and then to ensure that justice is done. Because justice, as we say, is a tripartite arrangement. Justice to the victims of crime, justice to the state whose law has been broken, and justice to the defendants.
Also speaking, defense counsel Vincent Chukwu stated the reason his client entered a no guilty plea in one of the charges.
The defense which shall open up at the appropriate time.
Well, so a lot of things to say about this, and Rivers people will definitely have their eyes on this one. Who want to know what would happen and how this case would end. We've also heard the interest in the state government in the matter as well. But what would do more diligent prosecution in the matter, the Nigerian force or the Rivers State government? Who do you think would handle the matter more? The Nigerian police force were in charge, but now the Rivers State government have come in to say that they want to be in charge of this matter and see to its logical conclusion. They perhaps not enjoying how it's been. People had issues with how he was even dressed. They felt like they bought him clothes to wear, bring him to court, he was being fed and all of those things. And could the government of Rivers State maybe not be comfortable with how the police are handling the matter, hence coming into it?
Well, I would say that if both parties actually work on this together, it will hasten up investigation, and then would see that justice is served in the end of the day. So I just actually hope that the Nigerian police and the Rivers State government can actually do this together. Okay.
Well, let's know what you think about the development concerning the alleged serial killer David West. Hello to Today95.1 FM.
Good evening, my brother.
Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening, JJ.
Yeah, my brother. Greetings.
All right, you're welcome. Go on.
Well, I think it's the same interest when it comes to the prosecution, whether it's the Rivers State government or the police. I think at the end of the day, they will arrive at the same result. But David West saying that he doesn't want to fight and is pleading guilty. I hope it's not a tactic. But at the end of the day, I think from the investigation the police has done, the due diligence, I think they were able to prove that he's truly guilty. But for me, as a person, I'm afraid with the Rivers State government saying they want to take over the case, because they were not part of the investigation that led to him confessing and everything. It was the police, and if the police too did not hand over those evidence to them, may lead to one or two other issues, because the police were the one that took a sample, took all the evidence and everything against him, interviewed him, took them to all the places. The Rivers State government officials were not there, even though the House of Assembly set up a committee later after the whole thing, but they did not follow up the investigation to a logical conclusion. So unless the police decide to cooperate with them, this case may just go the way of that of what's the name? Rambo, is now a pastor preaching to people and all those. And also forget too, we heard that he came to the court with a Bible. Maybe it's a way of turning from what he has done. And he said he killed somebody. He did not kill somebody because he's a Christian. So I doubt the Christianity that have killed 16 people and did not kill one, and is now carrying Bible. So I hope people don't fall into such antics. At the end of the day, it goes free again and begin to kill people all around. Don't forget, this is the second opportunity. The OPM is rehabilitating and all those.
You made your point, JJ.
Yes,
thank you very much.
Conclusively, on the NDDC, I think it should be holistic probing, not starting.
Okay, you made your point, JJ. Thank you very much. Hello to the 95.1 FM. What's that call? What do you make of this? Nigerian police force, Rivers State government. Many were uncomfortable, although when it first came, remember when it was being fed? Videos that were trending, it was like, it wasn't the police, we know you're not holding this guy as if
He's
it was
not being
someone
treated
that
the usual.
like the usual way, and then it came to court and said the body clothes, was looking well dressed and had blings on, and who were in court. Pictures are out there. Hello to the 95.1 FM.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
This is Edam from Oido.
Okay, go ahead.
You see, this is a serial killer. Now that he has pleaded guilty to 9-count charge, if it's where the rule of law is and the judiciary is serious, I think they should have given him sentence immediately. But prolonging the matter now, him to court, going to high court, they are just buying time. Just watch out. The judiciary will sit on this. Yeah, this case without the guy being sentenced. I will not forget the